old school bodybuilding clothing company. If you wish your fancy fitness center was a hardcore gym, you are old school. If you just ate chicken and rice and are about to eat chicken and rice, you are old school. OSBBC.com for the hardest training athletes.
I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back to Live With. I'm Dave Palumbo, and we have another very special edition of Live With today. Joining us today is the one, the only, the legendary Big Lenny. Also joining us today is going to be Guru Ameen, Jim Tamagini, and Alladin, all the way from Canada. So we got a great crew today. Guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, guys.
As people say, what a motley crew we got here today. And a lot of people probably don't know what brought this group of people together. Now, we know Alladin and Lenny work together. Lenny's been training Alladin. And we know Guru, Ameen, and Jim have been doing ibogaine treatments. And somehow the twain have met. And why don't we start with you, Lenny? Talk to me about what's been going on in your life lately and how this relationship was nurtured.
Well, Alladin had to go back to Canada, and I was planning on joining him, but because of the COVID nonsense,
right,
couldn't make it. But
I thought you were living in Alladin's house in Florida somewhere.
Yes, I was down in Doral, which is a little west of Miami.
Right.
And now I'm back in Palm Beach, and I plan on getting together with Alladin sometime before the year ends.
Oh, so
but
Alladin...
I'd like to thank him for sponsoring me for the ibogaine treatment. It came out of the blue where he texted me and asked me if I was interested. I said definitely.
Right. So Alladin, you have two homes, is that what it is, in Canada and in Florida?
No, I was renting in Florida.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay. All right,
I was renting the house in Florida.
What made you contact Big Lenny and tell him that you thought he needed to do ibogaine with Ameen?
Well, Ameen started training me for the last 2 weeks of my competition.
Okay.
And during the whole training session, he started talking about ibogaine treatment and all that stuff and got me really interested in it.
Now, for yourself, you needed it?
No, for Lenny.
Oh, so he thought Lenny needed it. Now, all right, let me go to Ameen. Ameen, what made you feel that Lenny would be a good candidate, and what made you feel that he needed ibogaine therapy?
Well, Lenny and I met last year, so when we had some talks, I thought it would really benefit him, and then as time went by, the opportunity arose, and we were able to.
Yeah, but I mean, it would benefit him. In what sense? What was wrong with him? What did you see? You obviously noticed something about him that was not right.
I don't say there's anything wrong with anybody, but I told him about the benefits that he might be able to get from it, and so he thought he was interested in it. And I think you may want to ask Lenny what he thought.
Well, what benefits did you feel that he would get from it?
As far as Lenny goes?
Yeah, but you saw something about Lenny that you felt that he would need it.
I thought it would help him with depression. I thought it would help with his issues with insulin. I just thought it would make his overall blood sugar better. I thought it would reset his mind and make him think clear and be more focused. Lenny's not addicted to any drugs, so he's doing it more for psychological reasons.
Gotcha. All right, let's go to Lenny now. We got so obviously your friend Alladin felt that you needed to possibly.
We're like family now. I call him my nephew. He calls me uncle.
Okay, and obviously Ameen saw something in you that he felt might benefit you if you did this ibogaine. What was going on in your life prior to ibogaine? Give us like an update, because we haven't talked to you in a few months. So,
well, losing 3 jobs in a 2-year period,
right?
2 of them because of the COVID nonsense.
Yeah.
I was a little down and out, and I got a chance to train at Alladin and live with him for a few months, which was beneficial.
Right.
We spoke about our future goals. Him climbing the ladder of bodybuilding, me getting my gut reduction and gaining back lost muscle mass to do another show. So I had a lot of uncertainty, maybe still a lot of self-doubt, a lot of issues in my past were negatively affecting me.
Right.
And I can say with all honesty that Ibogaine, I believe everyone, men, women, should explore it. It makes you take a good, hard look at yourself first and foremost. Mm-hmm. It brings me through every emotion at a higher level than I can have ever experienced without it.
Right.
And it caused me to focus on, why am I here? Why am I on this earth? The meaning of it.
What was the answer that you received after Ibogaine?
The answer is, how have I treated others in the past? Did I brush people off because they acted a certain way or looked a certain way? Yes.
Well, you don't like the cookie cutters. We know that, yeah.
No, I don't. And Ibogaine is an anti-cookie cutter treatment, if there ever was one, because the things that controlled you, whether positive or negative, I was able to see right through them. Right. Now, I went through a roller coaster ride of emotions, which Ameen explained to me before the treatment, and I would recommend anybody go to him because of the protocol, the minerals.
All right, let me stop you for a second. I got to catch people up first. First of all, you're wearing a porn shirt, so I'm sure it seems that Ibogaine didn't cure you of porn.
No, it's the Big Lenny porn addict shirt on DelrayMisfits.com.
Yeah, but
everyone's a porn addict. Whether any man that uses this type of technology is a porn addict.
Yeah, but so I'm saying Ibogaine didn't cure you of that. Obviously, everything else it did.
You can, you'll look at it, but it doesn't. Not that important. You see right through.
Oh, really? Okay, that's interesing. All right.
Other things too that were negative, you see right through it. I really don't need to do that. I really don't have the.
Okay, you don't need to be defecated on anymore to get aroused. Is that it?
Well, if you do, it's not. You don't have this uncontrollable compunction to do it.
I got you.
It's hard to explain, but. The Ibogaine opens up a lot of doors, gives you a lot of answers.
You can do it in a controlled manner. No, I got you. All right. So before Ibogaine, you were having some other health. You were having mental issues. We know you've talked about your relationship with your dad that was never very good, and we know about that. And obviously, everyone's a little depressed because of the whole COVID, not being able to go out what you want, not being able to do what you want. You lost jobs. I completely can relate to the depression aspect of it. But you were having some health issues too. You were having swelling in your feet. Were you having cardiac issues? Is that why you were having fluid retention?
Yes, the left ejection fraction was at 30%.
Okay.
Putting me at a high risk for stroke, according to the doctors.
Which, you know what, Lenny, which is not necessarily a bad thing for bodybuilders, because sometimes bodybuilders have such thickened hearts that their output is not as good, but they actually have an efficiently working heart. But you were getting back up in your legs and in your ankles, which is not good. That's usually a sign of there could be some congestive heart failure there. Now, did they put you on were you on medication for that, diuretics or anything like that?
They gave me diuretics when I was hospitalized for the week, and Caverdilol, which I had to stop because of the uncontrollable diarrhea.
What is the Caverdilol supposed to do? Explain that to me.
It's a beta blocker.
Right.
From what I understand, it reduces the amount of norepinephrine, I believe.
Yeah, well, it blocks the beta receptors in the heart, so the heart doesn't have to, it doesn't work as hard.
Yeah, but it also has bad side effects such as severe nightmares.
Really?
And like I said, the diarrhea it's negatively affected my training. Okay. And to be honest, I don't feel these symptoms right now after the treatment with Ibogaine.
Now, when you go to the doctor, we're going to get to the Ibogaine in a minute. When you go to the doctor and he evaluates you, I'm sure you say to the doctor, look, I have this humongous waistline. I don't know what it's from. I eat pretty well. I train. What does the doctor think that's going on there? Is that visceral fat? What does he think it is?
To clarify that, I don't go to doctors. I end up getting taken to emergency room.
Right. Well, obviously you get seen by someone in the emergency room. All right, let's put it that way. Okay.
Right. I never got a clear-cut answer on it. And Alladin and myself in the future are definitely going to try to get an MRI or some sort to find out exactly what the composition of it is. But it has gone down. Okay. It has gone down in the past year, and I have been doing the exercise you recommend.
You did? You're doing my intestinal breathing exercises? Excellent.
Yes.
That's what brought it down, probably. What about the fiber? Did I send you fiber?
Yes.
You probably still have the same jug.
I went through that a long time ago.
Oh, well, you should have gotten more from me. I would have given you more.
Yours is far superior than anything on the market, just a stellium husband.
I would have sent you more. You didn't why don't you text me and tell me you need more?
Oh, thanks. That's very generous of you. I just don't want to.
No. If you're going to use it, I'm not going to send it to you if it's going to sit on your shelf or Alladin's going to take it and use it from you, you know?
Oh, no, not at all. But thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, so you have this heart issue going on. You have depression, obviously. You go down, you fly down. Walk me through. You fly to Colorado? Were you nervous getting on a plane with the whole COVID thing?
No, I was never nervous about COVID from day one. I'm still not.
Have you had it?
I believe I'm immune to it.
Oh, you are? Okay.
But that's the least of my worries.
Maybe we should harvest, maybe we could harvest some of Lenny's blood to make a new vaccine.
Let's find out what's in his blood.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so do you pick him up at the airport? Is that how it works?
Actually, he took an Uber to where we were meeting.
Okay.
Him and Alladin were there together, so they came over to where we were meeting, and we met at a very nice hotel.
Right.
And after talking to Lenny for a little while, we started the treatment.
Did you lay down the rules like Lenny? First of all, there's no tranny porn in this hotel during ibogaine treatment. You told him that?
I tell you what, I asked him about it, and he wasn't even thinking about it at the time.
Good. Okay. So he was there to get cured.
I asked him about it, too. He'll tell you, because, it was a shock to me, the transvestite thing and all that, how he likes, the trannies. And so we wanted to know whether, it was something that could reset in his mind and how he thinks about it. He said that he doesn't think about it anymore.
Okay, good. All right, let me ask you this now. You see Lenny, the size of him, obviously. He's a huge man. And when you give the ibogaine dosages, it's usually based on weight. I mean, did you find that Lenny needed more ibogaine than like an elephant, or was he pretty much standard?
See, that's one of the myths about this, is that it's really not dosed by weight. That's the problem.
Okay.
The dosing has way many other factors that are involved. It's not really for dose. Tell you what, though, he did very well. It was a combination of ibogaine and psilocybin.
Right.
And the stack, if you want to call it that, works wonders. And you can ask Lenny about how he felt during the experience. Okay.
Now, are you pretty psyched about the decriminalization of all this stuff in Oregon? I mean, you might want to set up shop over there.
Yeah, actually.
I think Jim will answer that.
Oh, what do you think, Jim?
Well, absolutely. I think it's going to keep spreading.
I think so too.
I don't think now that the ball's rolling, I don't think there's any doubt. But right now, as you did the show on, it's preferable for all substances to be in Oregon. So we already started to explore that.
Yeah, you got to set up a clinic there. Come on, man.
Absolutely.
We're on it.
All right. Let's go, Lenny. Talk to me a little bit now about the experience. You get there. He sets you up. You sit in the hotel. Are you on a bed? How does the whole thing go down?
Yes, there's a group of about 6 of us. We're in beds. Can you see me?
Yeah, we lost you. I think you turned your camera off.
Okay.
All right, there you go. Turn it sideways now, Lenny. Okay. The other way. There you go. Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So it was about 6 of us, group of guys and we started off with the protocol, which was some minerals in a certain way. And we had the finest Rocky Mountain spring water in glass jugs, ice cold for our hydration. And we had certain type of fresh fruit, the best fruit I ever had, as far as our first meal, which obviously the first 24 hours you couldn't eat. It was hard to drink water.
Oh, so you only do water and fruit? Is that what it was?
Right. So we started out at smaller dosages.
Were you losing muscle by the minute? Did you feel like you were losing muscle?
I knew I was going to fast, but no, I wasn't worried about that. I was worried about possible anxiety, but I imagine the mushrooms reduced the anxiety, which was good because once I received the maximum dose and the hallucinations started, I mean, they were downright terrifying.
What was the first hallucination you can remember having?
Well, we're laying in bed, and I'm looking at the ceiling, and all of a sudden I see things on the ceiling form into faces, and the faces started forming into, you can see eyes, teeth, like fangs of monsters, wolves, all different types of demonic-looking things appeared right before my eyes, almost like in a video game.
You think those were like the demons in your head that you were like visualizing?
I don't know what they were, but
You know what I mean? Like when I say demons, I say metaphorical demons, because I think we all create our own reality. So if you feel that you have like some demons you're fighting in your head, you're actually now seeing them in reality.
yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way of putting it. And then when I closed my eyes, the same thing would happen.
Right.
These faces would form out of nowhere,
Right.
and obviously it's going to be a little rough. You're going to do some deep vomiting, and luckily Jim and Ameen and Alladin were there to take care of every.
All right, let me stop you for 1 second. I'm going to come back to you. Let me go to Ameen and Jim. Now, having someone vomit in Ameen, that's one thing. But to have Big Lenny vomiting stuff, I mean, did you have some kind of like hazard or hazmat bags and stuff like that?
No, he made
God knows what was coming up.
Lenny made it to the toilet. He was fine.
Okay, all right.
The main part of his vomiting was emotional.
Right.
You tend to bury. So believe it or not, a lot of people that are using this for detoxing off drugs don't vomit.
Right.
But people that are using it for depression and there's the suppressed emotions, they tend to purge. And the purging is not like a normal like a withdrawal of vomiting or anything like that. It's a purging of the emotions, just like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a good sign then.
That was a very good sign. I was very happy. That actually initiated the breakthrough. And then from there on, everything was starting to become, in my opinion, it was shifting towards it was a more beneficial experience then at that moment.
All right, so Lenny, after you finish throwing up, what happens after that, like moving forward? What's the next stage of ibogaine?
You're not able to sleep. But then I started feeling the euphoria, which I take was from the mushrooms.
Right.
And it was just laying there. And then I started feeling so peaceful and relaxed, unlike anything I've ever felt before.
Were you speaking to all the guys in the room, or were you just kind of in your own little world?
I was in my own little world.
Okay.
But the next day, I mean, the vomiting still continued, say for about 6 more hours as I continued the dosing. But in the morning, I really couldn't. I was just such in my world, I couldn't really speak or communicate with anybody.
Right. And
Alladin came in the first thing in the morning and checked on me. And I was thought back to a girl I met recently, her name is Veronica, just thinking about her and how peaceful it was. And she was by my side in a real nice, loving way, almost like an angel. So,
wow. Okay.
Very, very, I mean, for that, the whole thing was worth it.
That was a girl you were dating?
Yeah, it's a girl I see,
Oh.
Go shopping together, lives locally around here. So
got you. Okay.
But it was just an incredible experience. But for the next 2 days, I was pretty much like that until they weaned me onto some fresh fruit, and finally I was able to go on solid foods. But I was still peaceful, but at the same time, I couldn't communicate well, or I was just in my own world.
Right. What was the most profound thing that you've experienced during this whole treatment?
Just the time with other people, and that unfortunately the time that there's people for whatever reason in the past that I really didn't treat as well as I should have.
Who specifically?
Well, people I work with, and I was a supervisor at the hospital, who I didn't give a second chance to, and things like that.
Right.
Maybe some family members, some people from high school, people in Florida that, I turned my back on, or didn't care about them as much as I should have. And I saw that. I mean, right before my eyes, I relived it. Yeah. And also the nicer parts of my life, when I was really young, family get-togethers and things like that. And some of the great people, associates I had in the state of Florida.
When you came back from this experience, did you call people up and apologize to people, or do anything like that?
Well, I expressed my feelings. I mean, I hated seeing conflict amongst other people. Yeah. And I saw a little bit, there's a few issues with some of our Delray misfits. I just didn't really like to see what's happening at this time. So.
Right. No. Did you have any revelations in terms of bodybuilding? Like, I mean, are you done with bodybuilding? Do you feel like you've moved past it, or are you still as motivated to do it? Because I know
No,
before you were telling me
think
that you were doing a lot of anabolics and you didn't really care about your health, and now it seems like you have a different outlook on that.
Yes, I believe that bodybuilding should be a part of everybody's life. I see there's things I did that weren't necessary and counterproductive, but I think standard bodybuilding, where you're taking breaks between bulking and cutting and you're not staying on certain compounds, you're switching on and off. I think that's actually a healthier way to go.
Yeah.
And it keeps you positive, young and strong is what you want. And it keeps you from a lot of negativity.
Right.
And I realized that I could never do that, never give it up. It's doing it in a more intelligent way. But the only thing and I spoke to Ameen about it, and he said it was a normal part of it, was when I got back here, it was like almost a feeling of a little bit of like futility. So why are we here on this earth? Mm-hmm. It's just a fast, fleeting moment. And he explained to me how he discovered you were here to help others. And the way people have helped me, Alladin, many others, Andrew Kalura over the years, many others I couldn't begin to say right now. That's what we should be doing. And that's what life is all about. Because like I said, I could be gone in a second. We could all be gone in a second.
Well, you have a very big following of people. Now, no matter what got you the following doesn't matter at this point. It's how you, I guess, progress from this point forward and use that following in a positive manner. I think
yes.
Because there's a lot of guys that can relate to you because maybe they feel like you or they felt like you or they've gone through similar experiences growing up, and you kind of are like their role model now. And if you could improve your life and feel better about yourself and take your health back into your own hands and fix yourself, so to speak, then they can do it too. And I think that's you're like I said, in a sense, a role model.
Yes, and I want to stress that you don't have to be addicted to drugs to get benefit from this treatment. Far from it. Especially, I'm going to talk to the ladies out there. Some I haven't addressed in the past, some I didn't in the future. I mean, ladies, your role in society today has changed so much. You almost must get this treatment because the stress that you're under, I couldn't imagine, especially those mothers trying to raise a family on your own, still trying to bodybuild, stay in shape, do figure, fitness, whatever. Go out and get it done.
Let me ask you a question. Transgender seems to be a very big topic in our society nowadays. There's so many people that are men that are becoming women and women that are becoming men. What do you think would happen to a person like that who do the ibogaine? Would it cure them, or would it make them see who they really are, maybe even more clearly?
I don't know about if turning back straight is a cure. It would make themselves see more clearly. And, if that's what they want to do, I guess you have to accept it. I mean,
what do you think of me on that end? What would a transgender person experience, you think, on an ibogaine treatment?
It's really hard to say what they feel inside, but whatever they feel inside, they'll become at peace with it. So if they're struggling with it and they feel like, society or there are pressures that made them want to feel that way, then they'll address it themselves, and they may decide that that's not the way they want to go, or they may feel better about it. And because it's hard, we don't understand what goes on in the psychology of somebody who wants to change their gender.
Right.
So we really can't determine whether or not there's a problem with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
There may be no problem. It just may be like a man trapped in a woman's body or something like that they feel they need to get out of. Either way, it'll give them a sense of peace about who they are and the role they fit in this world.
Gotcha. Now, since all these, we've done a lot of these shows. Now, Chris Bell was a big one, obviously, that you helped with the ibogaine treatment, and I'm assuming he's still doing well with it. What has I guess you could say, have you seen a lot more business in the sense of a lot more people approaching you and contacting you for these helping with this treatment?
Absolutely. This is a tough time of year. I think when you get into the new year, everyone has their New Year's resolutions, and it's going to be so. People that we're talking to now are trying to set up for then because of the holidays and everything that's going on. I mean, we have the Nationals and the Olympia, both before Christmas. So it's a busy time of year to try and get that everything done. But I can see a huge influx of people that are seeking the treatment, and an even bigger portion of them that are approaching us not for addiction, but for other compulsions. I think in Lenny's case, when I first met Lenny, and with your question about transgender, one of the things is the compulsion of it. This helps with gambling. This helps with any. So a person that and I mean, use the word trapped in another person's body. Yeah. That's how people feel. That's what Ibogaine fixes. By healing the receptor sites, it gives you a new lease on life. You become at peace with who you are. I think that's the best way to describe what it does. And it doesn't cure you to become a different gender or anything like that. It heals who you are and makes you at peace with who God made you.
Yeah, guys.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
It's also not something that has to be just done once, okay? The reason Jim is actually here is because of, I had a really rough year, and I felt like I needed a reset. I felt like I was slipping, and he saw it, so he came out and he helped me again. He supervised. He's cool. Supervised treating me. Yeah. So I got an opportunity to have someone, because again, once you go through the experience, you really understand that you're here just to be kind and loving to each other. And, we're a human race. We got to get along. We can't divide. We can't have any divisions.
Yeah. I think also that what Ibogaine does, and it's very similar, I think, to ayahuasca, and is that it enables you to kind of like remember who you are. In essence, I think we forget really who we are, and we think we're actually our egos, the personalities that we were shaped by the environment that we grew up in, and the person we created, or you want to say character we created, and we forget, who we really are. And I think that it kind of awakens you. I don't necessarily know if it chemically does that much to your brain. It disconnects you from your ego for a second, where you can actually look down upon yourself and say, oh shit, I forgot. This is who I really am. This is what I'm here for. This is what's important to me. This is what's not important to me. And it's almost like you're getting like this aha moment. It would be like if you died and came back to life for a second, and you said, oh, of course, if I can only go back one more time and get another shot, it's kind of giving that other shot because it's disconnecting you from your body. I mean, in essence, really.
One of the things that it does that ayahuasca doesn't do is it makes the brain placid. So it really is a reset. It gives you a chance to have control over your mind and start over again without any of the compulsions, like Jim was saying, that were holding you up in your past, and you become at peace with your past life, and you are able to start a new life forward that is, more positive.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, though? If you sit someone down in therapy and you tell them, look, this drinking is not, your alcoholism is not helping you to be who you are, and you explain everything to them, yeah, it sounds great, but they still have that feeling they want to drink alcohol, right? When you disconnect from who you are, and you like remove yourself from your body in a sense, metaphorically speaking, it's like you're showing the person what you just told them. And I think when they see it from that perspective on their own, okay, they actually physically see it, like Lenny saw it on the ceiling or wherever he saw it, whatever hallucinations he was having, or dreams, and I experienced things when I did ayahuasca, so I understand the whole concept. It cements it. When you wake up, you understand what people were trying to tell you, or what you were doing was ridiculous. Okay, that's the best way to put it. And I don't even know if it's like I said. I don't necessarily think it's a chemical thing that's going on. I think the drug is disconnecting you. You want to say spirit from body? It's creating a disconnect, and then when you come back into that body, in essence, you have a greater wisdom.
That's 100% true. What you said is spot on. But in addition to that, one of the things that for drug addicts, that they're afraid to go through the withdrawals. And it's an addiction interrupter. They don't want to start the process. They go to rehab 100 times. Yeah. They come back. They put themselves in the same place. I've never seen anything. We just treated a man last week. And when I picked him up at the airport, he literally was coming out of his skin in the seat next to me because he hadn't done any drugs in a couple of days.
Right.
And I said, I promise you, as soon as we start this, that's going to go away. Boom. It's like a miracle. And I mean, I just talked to him this morning, and he hasn't had any cravings. It just totally, so it does what you're saying about disconnecting. You can see yourself. But the most profound thing it does right away, if you are an addict, is it interrupts those withdrawals. There's
Well,
no
if you're being disconnected from your physical body, wouldn't you also be disconnected from all the pain and discomfort too?
Exactly, and it lasts. It seems like in Lenny's case with his leg,
Right.
it seems to last. That's another miraculous thing as far as I'm concerned. I see people that were in terrible pain and they didn't even expect. I see people who come for heroin and 3 days later they're saying to me, I smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, Jim, and now I haven't even thought about having a cigarette.
Right, but isn't it true though that your mind creates your reality? So if your mind is stuck in a loop of dysfunction,
Exactly.
you can never get out of that addictive, cycle. If you're removed from that, and now your thought processes change, obviously your reality changes too.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
But if your reality, like in my situation, if your reality becomes really rough, then sometimes the brain starts to revert back with depression.
But
and other things.
of course, you just said it, because what happens is your environment changes, your thought and everything, and then it's like you get stuck in that same process again. So you almost need to be removed. So when you did this second ibogaine treatment or whenever it was, just recently, I mean, what profound experience did you have?
I mean, the fact that that things are going to be good, because I was really feeling bad. I was feeling sad, and I wasn't at peace. And Jim noticed that, and that's why he came and helped me. And
Well, you lost your stepson. I mean, we know that. I mean, that had to be traumatic to you, obviously.
That I lost the whole family. I mean, the family's we're not together anymore. So I mean, and then the whole custody with the child, but just all together, my environment was bad,
right.
And I didn't really have a way out. And so Jim came to save me. He's a lifesaver. I mean, I saved his life. He saved my life. That's why we're best of friends.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're doing good. Lenny, would you suggest this therapy to other people?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a chance to get a fresh look, a fresh start. And don't worry about the cost of it. It's well worth it, because it's going to get you away from the impulse buying, the things that people think that they need to be happy, that they spend untold amounts of money on. When you get this, you'll save ridiculous amounts of money, because you won't have the impulse to buy it or do it, or buy the drugs or buy the expensive car and clothes that depreciate that you don't need. Invest in yourself. Get something that's so cutting edge and so effective, and a fresh start. It's like what they call Christianity, being born again. In a certain way, it is.
Sure. Yeah. Now,
And
before the show, Lenny, I had someone contact me and say that they had this Porsche 911 Turbo that they wanted to give you if you would do some gay porn. Are you interested?
Not gay porn.
Porsche 911 Turbo. It's a $175,000 car.
No, not me. I wouldn't do it.
All right, it worked. It worked. I was testing you.
Hey, I was always like that. But I wanted to tell my bunkmate during the ibogaine test was none other than Chris Bell, a bigger, faster, stronger.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to talk him into doing a sequel to that featuring Dale Chance called Smaller, Slower, Weaker. So that alone is priceless.
Lenny, as long as you don't become a cookie cutter from this ibogaine treatment, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's an anti-cookie cutter treatment.
There you go.
For sure.
Now, how did you do in your show, Alladin?
Not what I expected, but I didn't do too bad for my first show.
Yeah, no.
I wish I did better for Lenny.
The improvements you made over the last couple of years is unbelievable, huh?
10 months.
Yeah, it's sick. How much muscle did you gain?
I started with Lenny at 165,
yeah,
and I finished my bulk at 230.
Wow.
And then I competed at 188.
That's crazy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome,
Thank you.
awesome. And thanks for looking out for the big guy,
He's looking out for me too.
Yeah. Are you guys getting back together to hook up for some training in the future?
That's what, hopefully in Miami.
Okay. When is that going to happen?
They might close the borders here in Canada because our COVID cases are going up here. So we'll find out within the next 2 weeks.
All right. Well, guys, I wanted to thank you for joining us. Lenny, I'm so happy that you're doing better, and stay positive, and you'll keep us updated from time to time whenever anything exciting's happening. Well, are you going to compete in 2021?
Yes, I plan on doing the Ruby.
Okay,
and I want to thank again Alladin, Ameen, Jim, and you for having me on and begin to give my testimony about ibogaine
to the
world.
You want to hit any poses for us, or?
Not right now. I'll save it.
You want to give us an ab shot?
I expect big time.
Let me see the waist. Let me see if your waist went down. I prove it. I don't know. It might be. I have to check the videotape from the last episode.
My chest is sticking out more now, so that's proof right there. And look at my legs. If you can see this, they're all healed up.
That to me that's great. All those ulcerations.
See, Lenny?
Yeah.
They're all healed up now. See that?
That's awesome. Yeah, that was the most important thing. I think you should, if anything, that was probably the greatest thing that you went down there for. It solved your heart issue.
Not to mention the fact that he's using much less, if any, insulin at all now, and he was using a lot of insulin prior to this.
Was it because his blood sugars were high, or because he just is a lunatic?
Lenny, what do you want to answer that?
Well, I think because I was doing GH last year and MK677,
Right.
that causes a high blood sugar.
So you were running. What were your blood sugars the highest you ever measured?
In the upper twos, which is too high.
Yeah, that's too high. What are they now? What are your fastings now?
I had it down to 90 fasted.
Oh,
so
wow. That's great. That's perfect. That's normal.
But it's typically, even with insulin, around 190 now, which is still a
All
little
right.
high.
You know what? Lenny, you shouldn't be using. If you can't control your blood sugars, you shouldn't be taking. You shouldn't be taking growth hormone.
Well, I got to get bigger, so I'm going to have to.
Oh my God. You think you cured him, but you didn't. I think he needs another treatment. I mean. All right, guys, I got to go. Let me wrap this thing up. Thanks once again. And Ameen, Jim, you're doing great stuff down there in Colorado. If people want to contact you, what's the best way?
TheRedPillReset.com.
Yep.
And GuruAmeenAlai.com.
Okay. Guys.
If they want to call direct, it's 857-222-1072.
And if anyone has a lot of money out there and wants to help these guys build the ibogaine clinic in the state of Oregon, contact them as well, because I think that would be a great addition to the Red Pill Reset.
Thanks, Dave.
You guys have to have your own clinic for sure. For sure.
We plan on doing 3 more sessions this year. So if anyone's interested, please contact us as soon as possible.
Now, Jim, did you actually hang out with Big Lenny that whole time that he was on the ibogaine?
Yeah, a lot of the time, Big Lenny was incoherent, and he had his one thing I was afraid of is he had his breathing apparatus that he used to sleep at night. So we're keeping an eye on that, and then he vomiting to make sure that all went smoothly. Lenny was in the top 2 tier of people that would respond.
How do you stay awake the whole time, that whole night?
I sleep with like this. One eye open.
All right, guys. Great seeing you again, and thanks for joining us on the show. That's going to take us to the end of another episode of Live With. I'm Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time.